Give me a minute to come on with everybody. I'm here somewhere. Trying to find a video I need to upload. Okay, upload a video. All right, here we go. Let me put this one up here. 100% uploaded, analyzing, processing, it says. Give it a second. And here we go. 7-second little clip, AI generated with the bumper sticker that I had created a couple weeks ago. So you don't want those bumper stickers right there. Let me see. I'm going to play it again. It's just got an AI generated soundtrack. That's it. I asked it to pick out a soundtrack that was reminiscent of the Mongolian heavy metal band called The Who. And I love the sound. That kind of deep throat singing kind of stuff. It's really cool. I mean, they do a good job of it. It's just like, I mean, I can't. I mean, I have no comparison reference point or anything like that, but it sounds cool to me. So I'm always intrigued by people who do music and art and artistry stuff in different kinds of ways, because I wish I could do it. Anyway, so one final time. Well, thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate it. This is Cassandra Williamson with The Path Forward. I am coming to you from about a 3 or 4 mile long holler in eastern Kentucky, in Pike County, right near Hatfield McCoy feud country. I mean, they fought over the pigs and all that, and the girls right near here. And it went on after the Civil War, from the end of the Civil War up until about 1920. This kind of Hatfield McCoy feud thing was going on around here. There were people who were hung at the courthouse in Pikeville, shootouts in Matewan. I mean, it was just Matewan, West Virginia. And it was interesting, to say the least. Though, of course, some of you may think I was alive back in those days, but no, I wasn't. I was not. I am not that old, if you can't tell already. Anyway, so some serious stuff I wanted to talk about today. One of them is that I read a report just prior to the new show, and it's been out about 6 or 7 hours, and may have been out before that even, but I'm not entirely sure. But I do know that it did come out, and it was in reference to something happening over in the Air Force right now. The acting Secretary of the Air Force has decided to rescind the offers of early retirement for transgender veterans with 15 to 18 years of service. Now, they've already covered the 18 to 20 years of service. Those people, if they accepted it, they got that. But now they're rescinding the offer for those who have 15 to 18 years of service. And even those who had accepted the offer, they're rescinding it too, backing up on that. So the whole cruelty, folks, to transgender people, if you don't think that this administration and these people are going after trans people, you haven't been paying attention. They're being very, very, very obvious about it. All you have to do is look at the news. Look at the news. Every day there's something about transgender people over on Fox, on some part of their program. All those talking heads over there who think they're God's gift to manhood, womanhood, and and everything else that they're not qualified to talk about. Oh my God. I get so irate at these people because they come across so ostentatiously, so aloof. And I just kind of get Their arrogance. Their arrogance gets to me. Now, I've been accused of being arrogant, and I get it. I do. I have been. I know that. I get it. I do sometimes. And I've been known to piss people off because I kind of have a tendency. I have talked down to people before, but that's only because they needed it. Right? How else was I supposed to talk to such idiocy? Right? Oh, come on. That wasn't funny, was it? Yeah, it was. All right. So, who commented down here? Ba, ba, ba. A big old hole. Is that a hole or a big old hole? Yeah, okay. Junior. So, the acting secretary of the Air Force rescinded those offers of early retirement for 15 to 18-year transgender vet service members who had that many years of experience. So basically, Hegseth is breaking his promise to get these people out with offers of early retirement above 15 years of service. But now that's been rescinded in the Air Force. I don't know yet about the Navy or any other branch of service. I think that that's probably likely for that too. I'm pretty sure that it would be because they've got something stuck way up their butt over transgender people. They just don't like transgender people. I don't know why. We aren't bothering them. We aren't a threat to them. There's only about 1% of us in the entire darn country at most. That's probably a stretch. It's more like 0.7, 0.8%, but hey, we'll round it up to 1. So, yeah, they're going after these people. And if you don't think they're not, well, look, let me just share a couple of stories with you. Let me get over here to the page I want to get to. Got to share a screen. And I'm going to go to a window. Here. Okay, so here's the page coming up right now. And this is on the LGBTQ Nation, okay? Their online news source. And it says, even the UN is getting sick of hearing the Trump administration whine about trans people. What's going on at the UN with all of this? Okay, well, the Trump administration promotes its anti-trans agenda at the UN. Everything, every proposal, every piece of regulation or policy that they want to sign, the rest of the nations in the world want to sign, if there's even the mention of the word gender in it, the United States refuses to sign it. This story, this one right here, the Trump administration promotes anti-trans agenda at the UN. That is by Salon magazine and Lisa Song, and I think actually it was first on ProPublica. But they're going after trans people everywhere, and it's not just at the UN. Even there are groups of these people going around the world, different nations, and promoting this anti-trans crap everywhere. And I don't get it. Can somebody explain to me what that's all about? Well, I kind of have an idea, though. I do have an idea. And that idea is that it comes out of the Heritage Foundations and their Christian dominionism, Christian nationalism, which is not Christian, but just a political party dressing itself up in the flag of Christianity. But it's a very thin flag at that. You can't find Jesus doing any of those kind of things. Over there in the red letter section, new connection to come back on. Oh, there we are. Second, apparently. Let me see what this other chat comment down here is in reference to your holler joke. Okay. A big old hole. Yeah, okay. Yeah. True enough. Actually, the pavement ends just less than a quarter mile from where I am, 1/8 of a mile maybe. And the last house is right there. But it goes for another mile up in here. Way up in the woods. And there's bears and snakes and all kinds of stuff up in there. They even come down and visit the house every now and then, the bears. Anyway, those weren't there when I was growing up. Yeah, yeah. Let me see here. Okay. And let me get my share screen thing off here because I don't need it right at the moment. But anyway, yeah, it's very likely, just as you were speaking about in the noon show, I can only imagine that the most of them are a bunch of cucks who couldn't get a date, want to force trans into sexual servitude. I think you're probably right because I can't. I mean, it really makes no sense at all. I mean, they must be visiting all of those websites over there with the tranny boys from over in the Vietnam, the BOI kind. They must get off on all of that because they got their heads stuck up. It. I mean, we take up so much real estate on what they're in their minds as trans people. It's got to be a fetish of some kind. They have got to be sexually aroused by the fact that we're here, and they don't want to admit it. So I think we all ought to go. And I've said this at noon today too, but we ought to form us a transgender church group. Go knocking on doors. Go knocking on doors. I would love to go knock on JD Vance's door because I mean, look, I love his eyelashes. They're full and thick, and dark. And so it's like, hey JD, let's try on this. Let's try on this wig, JD, because I think you would make a great one of us. Come on, JD. Come on. So anyway, oh my goodness, it's been a day. It's been a day, folks. Been a lot going on around here. I'm expecting some family to come in tomorrow from way up in Ohio. They're related to my grandmother on my dad's side, but she died in 1932 and is buried in Ashe County, North Carolina, in Jefferson, well, in Lansing. And they're supposed to have what do they call this thing? They have a day where a decoration day down at the church that's over the cemetery there. And it's a big, beautiful place. The cemetery is. I had family all around there living on there. You can go down the roads in Ashe County, North Carolina. If you find a mailbox, I'm going to say probably 6 or 7 out of 10 of them are going to have Blevins on them everywhere, all the way into Virginia. So yeah. Anyway, they wanted me to go with them down to there, but I don't think I can do it because I have other obligations here. But anyway, it has been an interesting day. So what I was sharing just earlier about the Trump administration promotes its anti-trans agenda at the United Nations, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the particular policy was about. It could be science and technology, environment, women, any kind of thing. If it had the word gender in it, our representatives at the UN would refuse to sign it and give them a lecture on what Trump defines as a man and a woman. Yeah, that's not a stretch. I mean, this article by Lisa Song and Salon, which is actually from ProPublica, that's what they're doing. This is such a big deal to them that they're willing to railroad anything that is good if it has that word in it. That is craziness, folks. Oh my God. It's almost like a sexual perversion they've got on us. To put it bluntly, I mean, we're taking up so much time in their minds. It's got to be that. Like, what else would it be? I know that Heritage Foundation is pushing a lot of this. And I know that Hegseth Church pushes a lot of this. And I know a lot of I worked for a Christian nationalist for 6.5 years. One of those apostolic, charismatic, Pentecostal televangelist with a mega church and a voice around the world who had offices in Russia and everywhere, and in Africa and all over the darn place. Yeah, I worked for them. Sure did. I know what they're talking about. I did live that life for a while until I decided that I couldn't handle it anymore. They sure don't like people like us. And that was Kenneth Copeland, by the way. That was Kenneth Copeland. And he was on President Trump's first religious board. I don't know if he's still on the one now because Paula White runs it now. So a lot of these evangelicals were pissed off that Paula did it because she's a woman. They aren't supposed to have any authority over any kind of man anywhere for any reason. Oh my God. They're so upset about that. Jeez. Let me see. I got to go. One more thing I want to show you really quickly here. No, a couple actually. I'm going to share screen again. Let me hide that one. Let's go over here and we'll share screen to here, go here and share. I don't know what that advertisement is, jiffy.com at the top. Anyway, go jiffy.com. I don't know what it's about. From the Hill, this article from the Hill says, Trump administration fires ex-acting FBI director seen as a champion of rank and file staff. That's one thing that happened today. It has nothing to do with trans people, but it happened today, even though that person was there under their direction since the first of the year, or since January 20th. Fired them because they were standing up for the rank and file and for refusing to turn over the list of the FBI agents who investigated January 6th. That was the big one. This is retribution on steroids. That's exactly what this thing was all about. They were going after all of the people, all the FBI agents who investigated January 6th. And if you don't think Trump is a vindictive person, oh my God, you've got another thing coming. He's been vindictive since the day he went after the 4 black men in Central Park. I mean, it's been going on for his entire life. Why do you think he's going after Harvard and all these schools so much? Because they offended him and his family one time. It's vindictiveness. So that was that story. Now let's switch over to another one. This came out today or yesterday as well. Can you see the title? Because it is just craziness for me that this is something from our president representing the United States of America. This is our president saying stuff like this. Let me see if I can blow it up so you can see it better. Dun, 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 dun. See that? Trump, push to hire female pilots puts passengers at risk. He actually said that. I've got a lot of friends who are female pilots flying all around the world. UPS pilots, FedEx pilots. Yeah, a lot of my classmates flying right now. Female, darn good at it. The best. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so let me go down here and just see exactly. It says, Donald Trump has attacked plans to recruit more female pilots, saying passengers will be put in danger because women may not be up to the job. If that doesn't tell you what's going on across the whole of his administration, I've got some classmates of mine, by the way, from the Naval Academy who are defending what Trump is doing at the academy by removing Vice Admiral Davids, the first female to lead the academy as a superintendent. And they're saying, no, because of performance stuff like, no, it wasn't. She went into another job in the down at the Pentagon. I mean, she's definitely into no job. They just removed her from that position because of this thing right here. This is Trump's thinking. Donald Trump attacks plans to recruit more because women may not be up to the job. This is Trump. That's Hegseth. It's baffling to me that people don't see that. The White House accused the United Nations Gender Equality Initiative, which aims to get more females into the aviation industry, of overlooking men who are better qualified and risking passenger safety. That's from Trump. And you can't isolate this one thing, that thing right there. That's his thinking. That's his mentality, folks. That's his mentality. You can't isolate that and say that this is not something that's taking place in the whole of this administration, going after leaders in the military. Lisa Franchetti, CNO, the chief of naval operations, removed. Why? She's female. There are no other reasons for it, but she's female. And that's what he thinks of women, that they should be beneath men, literally. Anyway, phew, I get going on these things. I try to show people this kind of thing and they completely ignore it because, they didn't think of it first or they don't believe that Trump's that way. Yes, he is. He's always been that way. He's been a male chauvinist forever. Okay. Hi, Jamie. Let me switch off of share screen here for a minute. Whew.
Got you going.
All the time. I try to tell people that this is who he is. That's who Hegseth is. That's who these people are. Trump, he's always been that way, regardless of his religious influences. He's just that way. He has been that way since I started reading about him, at least in 1980. Yeah, you're right, Junior. Let me just pop that one up there. Absolutely ridiculous. People in the United States have such a bubble-headed dictator.
I got my comments on there too.
Let me see. Where's your?
Mine just says private. I don't know how to share it with everybody on there.
Hold on a minute. Let me see. Oh, I see that. Probably take women out of combat next. Yes, and desk jobs or nurse maybe. Hegseth is all for that. He has made that very clear. If you read his book, War on Warriors, which I have, he makes it very clear in that book that he does not think women need to be in combat at all, ever, that no man should be ordered around by a woman, particularly out in the field as a combat person or doing anything related to that. He just doesn't think that's the right thing to do. These women are better at their job than he will ever be at his, right now even.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I try to nail this stuff down and come across in a way that absolutely explains it and shows people what's going on and has been going on for decades with Trump and not so many years with Hegseth because he's not that old. He's a young whippersnapper. Oh my gosh. So how's your day been though, Jamie? I didn't get to ask you that.
Pretty good. I went in today. I actually got an ultrasound on my aorta. I thought that I was going in for something with my lungs. That's what they told me when I had seen my primary care physician in July.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of a joke when he was talking about how cheap gas is going below $2 a gallon. Around here, it's like $3.30 something a gallon for gas. I don't know where he's living.
Oh, I don't know where he's living at either because here I bought gas just yesterday. I use the premium gas in my car. It was $4.19.
Wow.
This is up in
But you listened to some of his speech, that he had yesterday, and he said it won't be long before the gas. He said nationwide the average was like $2.49. That's almost $1 more than what it is right here right now. Or I should say it's $1 less than what it is.
Right. I don't know where he gets his numbers, but the number I gave was premium, so I know that that's usually more expensive. But most cars today, you can't use that regular stuff in them anyway.
I'll stick with the Shell gas. That seems to work pretty well. And then I get the discount, for being a rewards member. So that's what I usually try to stick with.
Yeah. I've got Double Quick down here. I do the same thing with the reward program and all of that. Try to do everything we can.
Yeah. But it's I kind of see that, the dismantling there of any type of I guess not really respect, but giving them the authority, just kind of just pulling the rug off from underneath them, like you were saying. I see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what happened at the Air Force. I mean, with them pulling rescinding the offer of early retirement for service members who had 15 to 18 years of service in. And some of them had accepted that offer, but they rescinded it and rolled it back on all of them. Now they're just going to be forced out with no benefits at all.
Huh.
And it's just cruelty. There's no other way to look at it. It's just cruelty.
Like I said, I had brought that up there at the congressman's town hall meeting, and I actually sent her the link there to, I think it was Military Times or something like that, where it showed, that was happening. And that's all you can do is, put it out there. You can't make them do it, but at least make them aware of what's going on.
Yeah, you can make them aware, and most of them don't know, the leaders in Congress.
Right. Yeah,
They don't.
everything's fine in their own world, it's because,
Yeah.
so far removed from the little people.
Yeah. Even though they do come back home and go around sitting on some council meetings every now and then.
I know they try to hang around the pride groups, and get all the votes that they can, but they need to really stand up and show us, that the vote is earned, do something to to prove that you're standing up for us, because the laws are there, but we need somebody to actually enforce them.
Yeah.
And if you go down swinging, you know what I mean? You may get outnumbered or whatever, but you could say at least I was there, I got the votes, I could prove that I did it, I did the best that I could do for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what do you think about this gerrymandering thing that's going on in California and New York? And
I don't like it, but I guess that kind of goes along the lines there of like the electoral college too, so
right.
That I think there's good things and bad things. I would hate to think that a city like New York or someplace like that could decide elections, when you've got a bunch of people that think socialism is a great thing, but
yeah,
I don't. We fought for freedom. We didn't fight for socialism.
Right. And we didn't fight for communism or Nazism or any of those, fascism. We didn't fight for any of those, and they are distinct.
But like I said, the mayor of New York, the one that wants to be anyway, that's what he's pushing. I think they take the money away from everybody and let the government handle all the grocery stores and everything else. And that's communism, socialism, or whatever form you want to call it. It's not it's not freedom.
Yeah. Usually what happens in those situations is the stores end up with only a limited range of products. They don't have a lot of diversity on the shelves.
Well, it's the same way with socialized medicine. You got the best doctors in the world right here because you got doctors that can make money. In Canada, they got the socialized medicine. Guess where they send them? They send them to the United States because they don't have enough people over here working, because there's not enough money in it for them. They can make more money here.
Yeah. Well, it used to be. The for-profit medical industry wasn't around until recently, maybe within like past 100 years, less than 100 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't for-profit prior to that.
Yeah. It's like I said, if you got people that are highly educated, if they can't make no money, they'll go where they can go to earn it.
Yeah. True. It makes me wonder why we're still where we are, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and like I said, I'm to the point right now where I'm definitely going to vote for the candidate. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat, as long as you got my best rating of what you say that you believe, and hopefully you got a record to back up what you claim.
Yeah. The thing that gets me is that there's such a huge discredit evidence-based science, evidence-based data collection and data reporting, and there's just an assault on the foundations of any kind of knowledge going on right now. And I just don't get that either. I mean, it's like we know that the mRNA vaccine is the most effective, and we know that the research needs to be continued. But yet, you got somebody who has absolutely no degree doing whatever it is he wants to do up there. He's replaced the board of professionals with his board of psychopaths. And then they're the experts he turns to and says, "Oh, I talked with the experts and they agree that we need to stop funding for this kind of research or any kind of research, really." Let's go back to just reading the tea leaves. That's
Yeah,
what I want to do.
yeah.
But I think it was Isaac Asimov, may have been Robert C. Clarke, science fiction writers. Both of them. Well, I know Robert C. Clarke had served in the military. Isaac Asimov probably didn't. But one of the two said that here in America there is a very big strain of anti-science stuff, and this he said these they said this back in the 70s.
I mean, I will agree. Maybe there's like climate change or whatever, but I mean, there's been climate change since day one. There's going to be climate change until the last day. I mean, you've got hot years, you got cold years, you got ice age, you got droughts. I mean, it's happened.
I think I've thought about that a lot too, about the climate change stuff. It took me 20 years to decide to, after looking at everything and watching closely what was being said, that there might be something to this. But the only thing that convinced me was that the rate at which these changes are occurring is that rate is accelerating. And that's the thing that's different. It's not that climate change doesn't occur. It has in very dramatic steps for the past 4.5 billion years.
Ice
Absolutely.
caps are still there, though. I mean, I can still remember when 2014 they were all supposed to be gone. They're still there.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit smaller.
Well, on the South Pole, they're actually getting bigger.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, yeah. That's for me, it's like I've got to look at it for a long time. It takes me a minute to come around to some things. It took years for me to accept who I am, so I figure it's going to take a long time for me to accept a lot of other things too.
Well, think about this. If you didn't have any ice caps, it got warmer. There's a lot of land in the tundra that you could farm, so that might be a good thing.
It could be, but you'd need all that land so that the people dwelling along the coast would have a place to live.
Well, that would be, I guess, an issue, but at least there would be some place to go. I mean,
Yeah.
at least a possibility. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
you live on the coastline, or you live in like New Orleans. You live under sea, and you lose a levee, and you're all flooded. To me, the
yeah.
insurance company ought to pay one time and say, we're not building back in this area no more. This is a park. We'll keep it dry, but we're not going to let anybody build here because it's a stupid idea to take the chance it's going to happen again.
Right. That makes sense, actually. There are people around here when it floods. For years, we would watch them. Their house would get flooded, and FEMA would give them a bunch of money, and they'd fix up their house and raise it up just a little bit. And then next flood would come through, and it'd get up into their house again, and FEMA would give them more money, and they'd build a bigger house and raise it up out of the water zone. And
Yeah.
and all they were doing was just waiting for the flood so that the government would build them a new house.
Well, yeah, but I mean that gets costly too. And I mean, trying to buy insurance on your own if you live in a flood zone, that's
Yeah.
costly too.
Yeah, very costly indeed. Mm, yeah, there's all kinds of things like that,
Well, I still don't think that anything that we do will stop it. I don't care if we all just took a cyanide pill and we all died together. I don't think that anything would change. Whatever's going to be is going to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that there can be some mitigations anyway. We're learning new things, and there are some things that we could possibly do to change the course, but it was going to require
We've cleaned up our air, and Canada keeps sending us the smoke from their forest. So,
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. Well, the same thing happened when the reactor um,
3 Mile
incident
Island.
occurred over in Japan.
Oh, okay.
That reactor incident there, I mean, they dirtied up the water, and that radioactive stuff actually made it over to here just quite a bit weak. we
Well, I'm
Anyway,
kind of surprised with that earthquake. That didn't do more damage. They're talking about that was one of the biggest earthquakes ever measured. So I was expecting some big ones.
yeah, I wonder why it didn't. That's a good question. I haven't looked into that myself. I don't know. That's not a field that I've spent a lot of time thinking about, really.
I want to say that it was like 8 or 9 foot tidal wave. That's not real big. I'm not saying that it's small, but that's a whole lot more than, or a whole lot less than what you would think it would be.
Yeah, well, the challenge is, though, that it may be that big in the middle of the ocean where it's really deep, but by the time it runs up the shelves to the coast, it's going to go. That's what happened in Alaska, I think it was, wasn't it? Back in like 52 or something.
Yeah, but like I said, that was a smaller one to begin with. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm.
So I wonder why this one was different. It has to be something to do with the plate tectonics, how the plates are positioned, or something happened there. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. That's for sure.
I haven't heard anybody talking about any kind of speculation or anything like that because I think it kind of sets a bad precedence. You have the tsunami warnings, and everybody's going to say, "Well, nothing happened last time. You had a big one, so I ain't going to
Yeah,
bother to evacuate."
yeah, yeah, yeah. You cry wolf enough, nobody will pay attention.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it also, if you're a conspiracy theorist kind of person, it raises these questions too. So if the earthquake occurred out there, and it was the largest they'd seen in that area, um, was it really an earthquake?
was it a nuclear explosion? Huh? Okay.
Right. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
it was hard.
yeah, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, it got tamped
But,
down.
throughout this whole time, I guess one thing you can say there is North Korea hasn't been rattling around over there. I mean, they've been pretty quiet since Trump has been president.
Yeah, that is true, true, true. The only thing they've done is provide troops as cannon fodder to Putin.
Yeah, well,
They put them into the meat grinder over there and got their tails beat up.
yeah,
Now that would probably stymie some people with megalomaniac ideas.
yeah.
You would think, anyway. Oh my goodness. Well, I just want to say thanks to everybody who has been watching, and I do know that a lot of people may be watching over on the website, which does not track you showing up in the little bubble up at the top. I don't think. Let me look and see. Let's see if I put my cursor on the bubble. No, it doesn't cover the website. Those two people are watching. Both people are watching from on the YouTube channel. Huh, those two. But like I said, there's the email I sent out had the web address for the live stream on the website. So who knows? Drive by viewers.
Yeah.
But anyway, I also want to say thank you to everybody who read the articles that I put out over the past several days about what's going on at the Naval Academy. We've had quite a few people. Hey, let me take this call real quick. Just listen in if you want to. Hello, thanks for calling. We've got all the milk you'd like. Are you there? The call ended.
Yeah, I've had about 3 or 4 different calls here in the last couple hours. That were people trying to sell insurance. I told them I have it. And they kept right on. I said I don't need it. Just hung up on them.
Yeah. I was telling people that for the longest time, Jamie. I'd say, look, I don't need it. VA takes care of me. And every day, like you said, every day they keep calling back and say, we've got some stuff that will help you with any kind of your medical insurance, anything like that. We know you're over 65. And I said, well, how old are you?
Well, I mean, I was told, that I had to get the Medicare. Yeah, they said the VA is not credible coverage. They said it is for the prescriptions, but they said that it is not credible coverage that I had to get it. So I mean, I'm paying $185 a month. I'm getting a Medicare supplement, which is better than just the Medicare alone. But
Mm-hmm.
they said I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, you don't have. That's the thing. That's what they told me too, is that you don't have a choice with the Medicare. Everybody in the country's got to have Medicare at 65.
That's what they say.
And I told them, I said, look, like you, I said, look, the VA takes care of me, and they do a pretty decent job. Why do I need to pay you 185? And mine was about that too. I think when I went on to Medicare, why do I have to pay you $185 out of the money you're already sending me?
Right.
Social Security and VA pension stuff. What? Here I am going to give you another $185 for
But
something.
with the supplement I get is buying. I should say the Medicare payment that I'm getting is actually being paid to the supplement. I've got pretty good coverage through that, what I mean. I've got like a free gym membership for seniors. I've got a card that I get $75 each quarter that I can spend like over the counter stuff on. I'm not going to say that it's useless, what I mean. I get to go to like private providers and stuff like that, so
Right.
it's not too bad. The thing I wonder is, why do they even need Medicare? Why don't they just take the $185 a month and have like companies bid on Medicare and just do away with the government part of it at all? You'll get better coverage, believe me.
Yeah. Yeah. When you have some competition like that, it does improve it for sure.
I mean, just have the government bid on it. They said that this is what we pay out in Medicare every year, like that, for the benefits. Let's get these insurance companies to step up and bid on that, and just. I'm not saying that the VA itself is no good, but they are second rate. Believe me, I've had both, throughout the years. You can't touch the quality that you get from private health care.
Well, I have a different opinion on that one.
Well, I mean, think about it. If I have labs done, I've had labs that take 2 weeks to get the results back. I can have the same results done in the morning and have the results by that same afternoon if I do it through my private insurance.
Huh. Wow. That's shocking.
I can call them up and I say, I want to see somebody. Yeah, come in. Somebody will see you. You call up the VA. No, there ain't no appointments for you right now.
Huh.
So
that must be your VA specific or something, because I went in at noon on Tuesday, did my lab work, saw the doctor at 2:00, and she had all the results right then. And not only that, I have called them, and I've called them and say, hey, look, I need you to set up something for me in optometry or audiology. And it's like, okay, and it's done.
well, I mean, today I was asking a question because I had, the aorta ultrasound, because I thought I was going to be getting something for the lung. That's what my primary care provider had said I was going to get. And she said, well, I can go ahead and secure messenger, but she said she won't answer me. She said, you need to go online and do that. I'm sitting right there at the desk, and she can't even find out while I'm standing right there.
No, that's crazy.
And I mean, I tried to get my DD 214 done too, and they said they got a letter back from the Department of the Navy, said they ain't going to do that. They said that my name wasn't changed while I was in the military. They said they're not going to change the name, when it comes to that. I just want to make sure that when I die, that everything is done for my new name, not my old name. I want the right name on the tombstone, and and
Yeah.
have everything done like that. I've got the judge's order that my name was changed, but I'd be better with it if everything was on paper that said exactly what was going to happen. So anybody taking care of my estate, don't have a lot of crap to go through, once I die.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But like I said, they got the letter back from the Department of Navy, and they said they wouldn't do it.
Was that recent?
Yeah, that was today.
Oh, today you got that back today.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you. Sorry that happened to you.
I mean, I sent in my updated birth certificate. I sent in, everything, and they sent me back that one letter there that said even the veteran service officer didn't understand what it meant, but I guess he got a hold of somebody there, and that was the reply back, is that they weren't going to change it.
Huh. Yeah, that's current administration stuff right there, because mine has been changed. But then
that's what I told him. I said I've known of other people that said that they've had it done. I said I haven't seen it physically, but I said that's what they've told me, and I got reason to believe that it's true. So
yeah, exactly right. I mean, I did that back in 2016.
Yeah. Well, I think at that time I wasn't even on there. I went 37 years out of the military. The thing was, I was working. I had a job there that they wouldn't cover anything until you had $3,000 spent out of pocket before they'd cover anything.
Oh, wow.
And they said, you ought to go to the VA and see if you get coverage. I was told when I got out of the Navy that the only thing I had was a VA loan, and if I put money, like in the thing there for you put so much in, the government would match it. That was it. I didn't have any idea at all, that I was eligible for any kind of VA coverage.
Yeah. And
a lot of people, I've been told there at the VA, a lot of people didn't know that either until they actually tried.
Yes.
So it's just not being very well advertised.
No, they try to make it as hard as possible, it seems like. That's for sure. And also many veterans. My dad was one of them. I was one of them, actually, who didn't want to deal with the VA because I thought that there were people who needed that more than me, and I didn't want to take up that spot. And it turns out that's not the right way to think about it. You've earned that spot.
Right. Well, I mean, I felt a little bit guilty being there. I mean, there was a guy that lost one of his legs, from the knee down. He was sitting there he called it a ski or whatever like that. But I've got respect for people like that. Believe me, I would. I'd get up and stand up and everything else. I would. I'd go the distance. For somebody like that. So I can kind of see where you're coming from. With the so-called being worthy of it.
Yeah. Well, not just worthy, but that there were others more deserving of it because they had actual injuries.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, that's the way my dad was. That's why it took him all the way up until he was probably in his 60. He was probably 60 before he even started dealing. Well, 55 probably before he started even dealing with the VA. And he was an atomic era veteran. Actually built.
But that's why I'm saying, that the VA, the quality of it, it's nowhere close to what the private is. I mean, I've got 37 years out of the Navy. I've seen the difference in the quality. I'm not going to say I don't appreciate the VA. It's there, but it is second rate. It really is.
Huh. Have you spent your entire time right there in that part of Michigan, around there in Michigan, after you got out of the Navy?
I've spent 32 years here, but I mean, I spent most of my life, in Michigan.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the VA, like when I was home. I had a planner war when I was in the Navy still on active duty. I stood in line for 6 hours and nobody even talked to me. I signed up, I said, to hell with this. I'll just go home and I'll take care of it myself. I got some butane and I burned it off myself.
Right.
I was very disappointed when I went to Saginaw to the VA, when I was on home for leave.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Wow. It's funny how all of the veterans, most of the veterans, have different experiences with their VA facilities around
Yeah.
the country, and that's what I've seen that up close and personal. And
I actually called, my senator's office before. I said it would be a nice idea if they would just walk around incognito and just go around to the VA centers and say, what do you like about this place? What don't you like? What would you like to see improved?
yeah,
That would be
yeah,
the best way to get the best honest answer from the people. If you go there and you don't tell them, yeah, I'm the hot shot. I'm a senator.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened to me when I tried that. Before I started that trip going around the country where I was visiting all those facilities and stuff,
Yeah.
I did a test run down through Florida. That was the first leg of it. So I went down to Lake City, Florida, went there, went over to Gainesville, and then I went on down to Orlando and over to Tampa Bay. And
Right.
I'm on the beach in Tampa Bay because I took, early in the morning, I get a call. Get a call from my friend in the VA at National. she said, "Hey, can we talk tomorrow around 11?" And I'm thinking, this must be pretty serious. You want to set up a scheduled time to talk with me? Okay. So we did. We had that conversation the next day. I was on the beach again, and she said, "We've got to. We don't want you going around all the VAs like that and just being there incognito." And I said, "That's the whole point. That's the whole point. That's why I want to go see what's going on and test it out." They said, "But we know that you are." And we've heard reports back to National that this person who is an executive director of such and such or a research director for such and such or whatever is going around to the VAs and just showing up. And we would really appreciate it if you wouldn't do that. And if you don't, then we're going to make sure you get rescinded. Your access rescinded.
Really.
That was the implied threat. But so
Well,
I
but
need to
don't
make
you think that that's their duty? I mean, you got people there that that fund this stuff. They should see, is the money being spent good?
I
Am I
know.
wasting money?
Exactly. That's what I thought. And I said, look, that's I want to go in and see if it's running correctly rather than have them guide me around to the places where they want me to go.
Right.
And I said, I want to go see if it's working the correct way. And the VA flatly told me no.
I mean,
So
they always, I was on an aircraft carrier. They always told you way ahead of time, hey, the admiral's coming on board, today. Let's do a field day,
yeah,
If it was me, I was the admiral, I'd show up, and I would just.
I made a mistake along those lines one time, Jamie. I have a good friend down in Alabama. It's Kent Davis. He's a retired Navy admiral. I didn't know him when he was in, but some of my classmates worked with him, and he knew that. So we talked a lot. And he was a friend of mine, and he called me up one day and said, "I'm thinking about going up to the Tuscaloosa tomorrow. I just want to drop in, say hi, and all of that, and see how things are going." And and he's the commissioner for the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs, and he just wanted to drop in to see how things were going. But me and my big mouth, I called up my friends at the VA and said, "Hey, that I just want to let you know the admiral's coming up." And I'm going to tell you what, that VA facility got turned upside down in 24 hours.
Oh,
yeah. and after I talked to him afterwards, and I said, Ken, I'm sorry.
I blew your
know
cover.
You just wanted to show up. You didn't want to be whistled on board.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh my God."
but that's the best thing. That's the only way you're going to get a good, honest, picture of what's going on is just to show up.
Agreed. But on that trip, though, after I started traveling the whole country, I had to let the VA know a month ahead of time where I was going to be, which means I had an itinerary worked out of how long it would take me to go from one place to the other, how long from the hotel I would stay at to get to the facility. so that they would know that I was
did they
going.
let you talk to the patients and ask them about what they thought about the services?
They started asking. They started allowing. They started encouraging trans veterans to meet with me wherever I was going to be at. I said, look, I'm going to be there for breakfast.
Yeah.
I'll be there at 7 a.m. If you want to come down, you want to bring your staff down, you want to talk, then you want to bring your employees in who can talk about anything they want to. You can bring in veterans who are getting care there. I'll sit down and talk with them. And that's how they arranged this stuff around the whole country. It was set up that way.
Oh.
So I always would go in that way. And but in one case, I showed up. I went to breakfast at the Long Beach VA facility.
Yeah.
In California. I went in there and I was just sitting there with a friend eating some breakfast, and this person across the way came over and talked with me for just a second. And it turned out that he didn't know I was going to be there. He was the person that should have been known about it. He was the public affairs officer.
Oh.
So he arranged for everything to show up for me on that one, but they wanted to know ahead of time. They did not want surprises. And that's my friend, the girl at the VA headquarters in DC, she said, the VA doesn't want surprises.
Right.
Yeah.
No, nobody does. But I mean, if you want a good, honest opinion, that's what you got to do. From the top, they got to just drop in and say, "I'm here. Come and get me. I want to see you at this place. Let's do a tour."
Yeah, exactly. Well, Dennis McDonough was out in Colorado when I was out there.
Yeah.
The previous secretary of the VA, and I had already had a meeting arranged with him in Denver at the VA there. And I didn't know that he was going to show up at the Colorado Springs branch.
Yeah.
And so here he comes waltzing in to the Colorado Springs one, and I'm out in the front lobby talking to there was a display. It was in June, I think. Yeah, there was a pride display there at the time. So you never know. The world's a funny place.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is time for me to run. I've got that time of the evening to take care of stuff. So thanks everybody for listening, being a part of this, and all of you. Send some comments every now and then. And if you'd like to join live on the set, like Jamie and I are doing right now, there's a link. Go into the blogs on the website and you can find them. Anyway, thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye.